Things aren't looking good for Diddy right now. Suddenly, a flood of videos has started spreading online, and people are actually paying attention. At the same time, another move has raised serious questions. His well-known matte black private jet has reportedly been sold. The same jet he used to flaunt all over social media. Now it's gone. To a lot of observers, that doesn't feel random. It feels like the beginning of something unraveling. And what makes this moment feel different is that it's not just one clip or one rumor, it's everything happening at once. You probably clicked on this because you've already seen some of the footage making the rounds. Awkward karaoke moments, party videos that sparked non-stop speculation, alleged leaked audio that just won't disappear. And that's only part of it. This isn't only about what's on camera, it's also about why major assets are suddenly being sold and what that might signal behind the scenes. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of how all these pieces fit together and why so many people believe this situation is escalating. But before getting into the tapes themselves, there's important context that has to be understood. Without it, none of what follows really makes sense. Here's what's publicly known. I'm not going to go over every accusation or legal detail because most of that has already been widely reported. What matters is that Diddy is currently being held at Fort Dix. This all traces back to March 2024, when federal agents carried out raids on his properties in Los Angeles and Miami. Imagine waking up to federal agents searching your homes. And it didn't stop there. Multiple civil lawsuits were filed by individuals described as victims. There's also a lesser-known detail that helps explain some of the recent decisions. According to reports, if convictions on higher-level charges had gone through, authorities in the Southern District of New York were prepared to seize everything: money, properties, vehicles, and other assets. From a financial standpoint, selling off property right now would make sense. Massive legal battles are extremely expensive, and when several lawsuits are active at the same time, legal fees can pile up fast. With that background, attention turns to the tapes circulating online. Some of what's being discussed has deeply unsettled people. One of the first voices to publicly raise concerns was Aubrey O'Day. She previously worked with Diddy and has spoken about her experiences. Recently, she appeared on a podcast and made comments that immediately stood out.
What do you think that Diddy's downfall means for the music industry and for men like him? Do you think this will help create some type of change?
We haven't seen a downfall yet. We're just saying
the trial was very public and the details were pretty disturbing.
They weren't disturbing enough to get a few stupid people in a jury to understand it. So wasn't that effective? Wasn't that much of a downfall.
She described the current legal situation as symbolic at best. In her view, it represents less than 1% of the justice she believes victims deserve. Less than 1%. She also suggested that the system continues to protect certain people and that her comments were not aimed at just a single individual. According to her, there are others whose actions were even more serious and who have yet to truly be held accountable. That shifted how many people looked at the entire situation. It stopped being about one name and started to feel like part of a much larger pattern. Around the same time, a separate video began going viral. It wasn't focused on just one person. Instead, it raised broader questions about accountability across the industry. The video mentioned several well-known artists and asked a difficult question. Are audiences going to keep supporting people accused of harming Black women, or is something finally going to change? One point from that video really stood out. Consent can be withdrawn. Agreeing in one moment does not mean consent lasts forever. That idea resonated with a lot of viewers, especially with recent documentaries and renewed public conversations. The message challenged people to think about what comes next. Keep streaming the music, keep buying tickets, or start holding people accountable in a different way. No one is being told what to think, but it's clear many would rather avoid this conversation, and some argue that silence itself is part of the problem. Then another development surfaced. Reports began circulating that people working for Diddy had not been paid since his incarceration. His spokesperson denied that, saying everyone was still being paid and that no one had left. But people close to the situation have shared a different story. According to them, some employees stopped receiving pay and eventually walked away. Behind the scenes, financial matters are reportedly being handled by TriStar Sports and Entertainment. Because of strict approval procedures, payments can take a long time to go through. And according to reports, this hasn't only affected staff. There have been claims that even family members are dealing with delays. His mother, Janice Combs, along with his children, have reportedly had difficulty accessing money for everyday needs. The contrast is striking. One moment, private jets and unlimited access. The next, restrictions and approvals. It shows how quickly circumstances can change. Now the focus turns to what many consider the most disturbing element. According to reporting from the New York Post, recordings from private parties exist, and investigators were able to determine when some of those events took place. The footage is said to date back to 2004 and 2005, connected to VMA afterparties and Super Bowl weekends. One event in particular, an afterparty following the 2005 VMAs, stands out. Early in the night, several high-profile celebrities were reportedly there: Eva Longoria, Paris Hilton, Ice-T, Quincy Jones, the usual elite crowd. But according to reports, once those guests left, the atmosphere shifted completely. Accounts linked to the footage say that after the well-known guests were gone, the tone of the party changed. What's described is very different from the public-facing event earlier in the evening. The clips reportedly show young men and women partially undressed, with scenes suggesting intimate behavior. In one moment that drew attention, a woman appears with a white substance beneath her nose, something viewers immediately speculated about. What made the footage more notable was how it was allegedly verified. In the video, Diddy is seen wearing the same white t-shirt he had on earlier that night in photos from the VMA afterparty. The shirt reads, "God is the greatest," in black lettering, a detail used to connect the footage to that specific event. There's also video said to be from Super Bowl weekend in February 2005. That weekend, Diddy hosted a high-profile gala attended by celebrities such as Ashton Kutcher, Ashley Simpson, and Joe Francis. But according to reports, the night didn't end when the official event did. The gathering allegedly continued at a private mansion Diddy was renting at the time, reportedly for around $20,000 a week. Footage from that location is said to show two men together while laughter can be heard in the background. What caught many people's attention was the camera angle. It appears to be filmed from a first-person perspective, leading some to speculate that Diddy himself may have been holding the camera. A federal law enforcement source later said that descriptions of the footage match information already being reviewed. At this stage, investigators are focused on one key issue: consent. Whether everyone involved was participating willingly or whether pressure or coercion was involved is now central to the case. That uncertainty is what makes these clips especially troubling to many. And then there is the issue of the tapes allegedly being offered for sale. A lawyer representing one of the civil plaintiffs shared a disturbing detail. She said someone contacted her trying to sell a video. According to her, the footage shows Diddy alongside another high-profile celebrity. She claimed to have personally viewed it and stated that the other person involved is even more famous than Diddy.
Yes, there already have been tape leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill.
She stressed that the individual in the video is clearly identifiable, with no confusion about who it is. And she made a point of saying this isn't an isolated situation. According to her, other recordings are being quietly offered to people across Hollywood. Situations like this are often described as catch and kill. Someone comes forward with damaging material and presents a choice: pay for it, or it becomes public. In other words, blackmail. Multiple reports suggest this may be happening to more than one high-profile figure right now. The idea itself is disturbing. Imagine getting a call from someone claiming they have footage of you in a moment you never expected anyone else to see. That possibility alone has fueled a lot of fear and speculation behind the scenes. Another clip that brought the conversation back into the spotlight is a karaoke video involving Diddy and Meek Mill.
I was this bad this should be good, and that shit was drove me crazy. I pulled up to her crib, I was in that 19 Mercedes. I got this bad bitch from LA.
Many people who watched it described the moment as tense and uncomfortable. In the clip, Meek Mill says a few things that some viewers found questionable. At one point, Diddy turns around with a clearly surprised look, as if he's reacting in the moment to what was just said.
We had a recording of Meek and Diddy
Making love?
I don't know if it was love.
Okay, you have it? Let's hear it.
That moment also brought back memories of alleged audio that surfaced the year before. That recording was mentioned in a lengthy civil lawsuit filed by a producer named Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod. In the filing, a rapper from Philadelphia who previously dated Nicki Minaj is described. While the name itself was not written in the main section, other details led many readers to assume the reference was to Meek Mill. The lawsuit includes claims of inappropriate conduct. after those allegations became public, some fans said it changed how they viewed him. Even songs that once felt motivational, like Dreams and Nightmares, started to feel different to certain listeners. To be clear, these statements exist within legal documents and public discussion, not proven conclusions. But when details appear in official filings, it naturally causes people to ask questions. More recently, TMZ released footage of Diddy inside Fort Dix. What caught people's attention wasn't just the location, but his demeanor. Despite the seriousness of the situation, he appeared to be smiling.
It is the first videos of Diddy in prison at Fort Dix. I mean, how do they keep getting this stuff? And how much are they paying these other inmates to send them videos of Diddy? This is wild. Apparently, Diddy was working. Diddy helps give movies and religious materials to other inmates.
Some people think he was just trying to project confidence in front of the cameras. Others wondered if he might be aware of developments the public doesn't yet know, possibly connected to legal strategy or ongoing negotiations. There's no confirmation either way, but the footage left a lot of viewers unsettled. Another moment that has resurfaced is an old awards show speech. In that clip, Diddy says, "We have the power. We decide what's hot."
I'm going to take your souls. We have the power. We decide what's hot. If we don't go, nobody goes. If we don't support, nobody supports. We control what's cool. We control what's hot. We control what your kids listen to, what they dance to. We control what's in video games. We control how they wear their pants, sag their pants. We control everything.
At the time, it came across as simple confidence, but in hindsight, many viewers say it sounds different, almost like an open acknowledgement of how much influence certain people really had behind the scenes. That shift in perspective has made some reflect on how much control existed and how it may have been used. There is also another piece of footage making the rounds that shows Diddy with a group of celebrity friends. It starts in a harmless way with someone leading a prayer, but as the clip goes on, a lot of viewers say the mood feels strange and uncomfortable.
Just being able to be here, this heat.
Good, so them band hoes tried me. They tried me.
Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Hold
on. The body language, the tension, the way people interact. Comment sections are full of viewers pointing out moments that feel awkward or out of place. Rather than spelling everything out, many say it's better to watch closely and draw your own conclusions. For a growing number of people, the reaction is the same. Something about the footage just doesn't feel right. Another clip that often comes up is one many find disturbing. It shows a man at one of Diddy's parties who appears to be unconscious and lying still. In the video, Diddy walks toward the camera and makes a remark along the lines of, "For those who don't know what happens when a white man comes to a Diddy party, this is what happens," then turns the camera toward the man on the floor. At one point, someone places a drink on the man's head, seemingly as a joke. Diddy then identifies him by name, saying he's a DJ from Simeon Mobile Disco, and adds that DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of his parties, the situation can be very different.
Gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man. It's so unfortunate. You gotta pull back, though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look. What you got a drink on his head. And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is a actual DJs aren't supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to him. I put him to sleep. Next day, right? You put the drink on his head. There you go. There it is.
He then says the words, "I put him to sleep." That line has raised a lot of questions. What does "I put him to sleep" mean in that context, especially when people look at it alongside everything else now being discussed? Viewers have wondered how that person ended up in that state and what might have happened before the camera was turned on. The clip set off multiple red flags, and for many, what made it even more unsettling was the casual, joking tone in which it was filmed. It left people questioning the mindset behind recording something like that at all. There is also another resurfaced video that involves Ashton Kutcher.
I'm from Cali on the beach, man. Venice Beach. Venice Beach. That's the flashes. Yeah. That's a Princer. Give a shout out. That's a Princer. Can we get a shout out?
So, we here to, try to raise money for these, mosquito bed nets. So if you don't understand, just imagine living in Africa and, your little infant child just gets bit by a mosquito and he dies. We're working with a charity this year, and I'm glad to attach with my boys' charity, and we're gonna do it every year with another charity. So thank y'all very much for coming. So let's party. DJ. Come on. Let's go. Let's go.
People have begun taking a second look at the footage. It comes from a charity event focused on providing mosquito bed nets in Africa. In the clip, Ashton Kutcher talks about growing up in Venice Beach, and the event acknowledges Starbucks for sponsoring it. On the surface, everything seems positive and harmless, but in the context of what's now being discussed about Diddy's private gatherings, some viewers say their perception of the clip changes. It raises questions. Did Ashton know anything beyond the public charity portion, or was he only present for that part and left before anything inappropriate occurred? There's no evidence suggesting he was aware of anything beyond the event itself, and it's crucial not to make claims without proof. Still, the clip has fueled a broader conversation about who may have known what and when. And this is where the story takes an even more serious turn. A woman named Adria Sherry English came forward publicly with her account, which many have described as heartbreaking.
People are open to hearing what has happened to me. People weren't ready to hear it 20 years ago. My name is Adria Sherry Marcy English, and I was hired in the early 2000s to be a go-go dancer at Diddy's private white parties. I looked up to Diddy. He was an icon. He was innovative. I had dreams and goals to be in the entertainment industry. And so when I got the opportunity to dance at the white parties, I really took it seriously. The first time I met him, he was very nice, charismatic. He had a presence about him. I felt important. The fact that I kept getting invited back, it led me to believe that, I had special talent, special skill. They liked my energy. So it was a very great experience initially. After about the second or third party is when I got asked to do extra things more than dancing at the private white parties. It was more mingling more and being available if they wanted to participate in extras, I should say.
When you said that they started asking you to participate in extras, what do you mean?
He would bring me to people. Diddy would sit me with certain people and for me to entertain them. There were private areas and private rooms of the house that, I had to walk people to. And then, I was I believe drugged. We were drinking from certain champagne bottles where it was like your eyes were open, but you were blacked out. And whatever it is that was in those drinks, it made you a zombie. I was asked to perform sexual acts with his guests. It was kind of degrading, but because of the status of the people involved, it was kind of like, well, this is better than a regular person, a regular guy. This is someone who's rich and famous. And so I thought that was going to graduate me into being able to sign a record deal. It was like coercion of my heart. He knew how important it was to me. And so I believed it. I was very gullible, very naive, very trusting. And so I went along with a lot of it.
How many people do you think that you were asked to engage sexually with?
I would say probably over 20. between all the parties. I did hear that when they did the raid on the house, that the tapes that he found, that I may be on them. So it could be more. My lawsuit was filed under the Gender Motivated Violence Act. It's for coercion, it's for sex trafficking, it's for forced labor. No one believed me back then, and so I decided to just deal with it internally and self-medicate with alcohol. I do want to apologize to my family for bringing that, shame. I did it because deep down I wanted to be famous, and I believed that it was going to be a way for me to. Everybody's not lying. But if people could just say, what if people are telling the truth? What if they're telling the truth? That's scary. And it's a problem that needs to stop.
She said that in the early 2000s, she was hired as a go-go dancer for what were described as Diddy's private white parties. At first, everything felt exciting. Diddy appeared charming and kind, and she felt special because she kept being invited back. She thought this could be her chance to break into the entertainment industry. According to her account, after the second or third party, expectations began to change. She said she was asked to do more than just dance. What started as performances gradually escalated into requests for additional extras. She was reportedly instructed to entertain certain guests and escort people into private rooms and restricted areas of the house. Then she shared something that deeply unsettled viewers. She believes she was drugged. She described certain champagne bottles being offered at the parties, and after drinking from them, something felt off. Her eyes remained open, but mentally she would black out. She described the experience as feeling like a zombie, awake but not fully present. She claimed that she was then expected to perform sexual acts for wealthy and influential guests. At the time, she thought complying might help her career, possibly opening doors to industry opportunities or a record deal. Looking back, she admitted she was naive and overly trusting. Based on her recollection, she estimated that she was involved with more than 20 people across the parties she attended. That number alone caused many people to pause, and she noted it might not even be complete. She stated that during the raid on Diddy's home, tapes were allegedly recovered, and she believes she may appear in them. If true, it could mean the number of people involved is even higher than she remembers. She later filed a civil lawsuit alleging coercion, trafficking, and forced labor. She said that when she initially tried to speak out, no one took her seriously. Feeling dismissed, she turned to alcohol to cope and stayed silent to avoid bringing shame to her family. Toward the end of her interview, she said something that resonated with many viewers. Everybody's not lying. What if people are telling the truth? That question lingered for many because it challenges the instinct to dismiss stories like hers. Listening to her experience hits differently. She thought she was stepping closer to her dream, only to find herself in a deeply traumatic situation. Many believe she's unlikely to be the only person with a similar story. Shifting back to the private jet, in October 2025, Diddy reportedly sold his famous matte black jet. Selling such an asset at that time wasn't necessarily easy. Celebrities facing serious legal issues often find it difficult to move high-value property, as buyers tend to avoid anything tied to controversy. Alec Baldwin reportedly faced similar struggles trying to sell property after the Rust case. The timing matters because, according to reports, if Diddy had been convicted on higher-level charges, authorities in the Southern District of New York were prepared to seize everything: his money, homes, vehicles, and more. Plans were reportedly in place to take full control of his assets. This mirrors past situations, like when Young Thug was incarcerated and had assets seized, which were later returned. In Diddy's case, there's speculation the assets may not have been returned. As for the jet itself, it was reportedly a Gulfstream G550, built in 2015 with a matte black exterior, beige interior, seating for up to 14 passengers, and pet-friendly accommodations. Comparable jets sell for anywhere between $15 million and $30 million, a staggering amount for most people. The aircraft was sold through his company, Love Air LLC, and its tail number is no longer registered to the jet, which now appears to be registered in San Marino. So why sell it? Many point to the obvious reason. Legal defense at this scale is extremely expensive. Multiple civil lawsuits require enormous financial resources, with attorneys, filings, and prolonged litigation adding up quickly. Liquidating assets becomes a way to stay financially afloat when facing so many cases at once. Finally, there's a major legal development. On January 1st, 2026, the California Justice for Survivors Act went into effect. This law opens a 2-year window, allowing individuals to file civil lawsuits even if the statute of limitations has expired. Claims once considered too old can now move forward. The law also expands accountability beyond individuals, allowing companies and organizations that allegedly enabled, ignored, or covered up misconduct to be named in lawsuits. This includes record labels, management companies, and others who may have known and failed to act. This is a major shift. When a similar window opened in New York, hundreds of lawsuits followed. Now California has created the same type of pathway, and it's safe to assume many in Hollywood are paying close attention. So now the question turns to you. What part of this story stands out the most? The go-go dancer's account? The alleged party footage? The video of the man passed out? Or the impact of the new law? And the bigger question, do you think more names will surface? Based on everything that's emerged so far, many believe this story doesn't end with just one person. Share your thoughts in the comments. I do read them.